Okay, The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/thegorgepodcast. You can donate to get a shout-out on the podcast. You can also donate $20 to get a cool t-shirt once every 6 months.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, and we appreciate...
Yeah, designed by Sara
right
herself.
now it's just our dope logo, but eventually something else will come along. So yeah, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Persona 5.
You mean again? Woo!
And
that's why...
Yeah,
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, Saturn is also here with us.
I carry with me the curse of Persona 5, as long as my presence is known, it is inescapable.
We actually didn't invite Saturn on at all. They just kind of manifested in the Gorge Discord and just kind of appeared to guest speak.
Saturn heard that we were talking about Persona 5, and we didn't even set up another chat. This is just the private one-on-one chat in Discord, and Saturn is just
amazing.
here.
It's like Bloody Mary.
Saturn, you're not even at home right now. How are you doing this? You're not even online. Whose house are you in?
Look, if I told you, I don't think the government would permit me to live. So I'm on a sacred mission.
To talk as much shit about P5 as humanly possible, despite actually kind of liking it. Hell yeah,
something
my
like
kind
that.
of mission. So yeah, we're talking about Persona 5 Confidants.
So like we did with Persona 4 last time, where we talked about the non-party member confidants, we're doing the same social links for 4. Fuck. We're talking about the non-party member confidants for 5, and I've been thinking about it ever since playing through it the second time, and I think, on the average scale, I think P5s are better than 4s.
Yeah. I think for me, there's obviously, some are better, some are worse, or whatever, but I think... honestly, not even from a writing perspective or a theme perspective, one of the things I like about P5 is that obviously it's a story about, being a sort of outcast from society, and, every social link kind of ties into that in different ways. It's cool. But what I like most about it is that the game's actually better about giving you a reason to engage with more of the social links. So, it gets points from
I'll give it points for that, but I don't know if I particularly... when I knew this podcast was coming, I don't know if I like the overall social links in P5 more than the ones in P4. There are more ones in P5 that I am just completely ambivalent about. And so, I still like all of them, and I can actually remember their names, unlike most of the ones in P3. Whose names I can barely recall. Granted, that might be because I haven't played P3 in 6 years. But still, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about a lot of the social links, confidants, communes, fucking whatever, in P5. So I guess we'll just kind of go down the list, because I feel like I was kind of looking at this list and I was like, that one's okay. I can't really think of any moments in any of them that really, really struck me. But we'll see. Yeah, they just in general, a lot of them didn't really I had a lot of genuinely moving moments in the P4 confidants, and a lot of whatever. The things.
They're interchangeable terms.
They change the term every game. In Persona 6, they'll be your besties.
Yes.
Your BFFs.
But no, none of them really seem to kind of move me or really stick with me in any concrete way, the way that that some of P4's did. So, but still, I like them. So we'll go down the list.
Yeah, I feel like there were a lot more hits in this one than misses than there were in 4, but I say overall P5s are better, but there were a lot more standout ones in 4, but there's also a lot more that are just bad in 4.
Yeah, that's sort of my takeaway from it. Is like between 4 and also like 3, like the ones in those two games that stand out, like
and maybe
really
that's what it
stand
is.
out. In 3, like you have that entire the Hermit Arcana with the person that you meet playing MMOs in your room on weekends.
That nobody ever does.
Which I haven't. I haven't played that. I haven't played Persona 3 in probably also like 6 years, but I still remember that one
really
almost completely. Whereas like for Persona 5, like I think Persona 5s are sort of like better on the level, but the problem is like the ones that are good aren't as like memorable as the ones that are good from 3 or 4.
I think that's it.
Yeah, for sure. Like the highlights in 5 are like the mediocre in comparison to like the mediocre ones in 4. Like the ones that like that what aren't quite the best but like are still pretty good are like the same quality as you get in 5, with a few exceptions in 5, I think. There's
some. Do you want to start down a list and we can just like talk about them?
Yeah,
like,
well, I have them in order of like how they appear in the Tarot Arcana. So we'll just go down.
I was just going to start going, and I realized it's probably not a great idea.
It turns into chaos real fast.
Yeah, I want to make sure we hit all of them, so I just wrote them down like in order that they appear in the Arcana. So the first one is quote unquote Igor, who is the fool.
Story boring.
I was going to say, if there's only one critique I have of P5s in general, it's that compared to all the other games, there are way too many story social links.
There are so many story social links in Persona 5. Chill the fuck out.
I'm looking at a list, and it appears that of the 23, including the world, which is just a plot thing, 6 of them are plot exclusive. And it's like, I mean, you don't have to... I would have rather have had, like, a side character, or, like, something else, or, like, hell, have been able to, like, acquire their social link in different ways outside of the plot. But, or God forbid if they were plot social links, like if they were put together in a way that made them feel more involved. The problem is, like, with the plot social links in this game, like with Sainijima and with Goro Akechi and all of them, is sort of like, oh, hey, I got the story social link from them. I guess I hit a milestone, and my participation in this thing didn't actually matter at all.
Yeah, like it's a little bit off topic, but I think that the out of the story-based ones, I think the best one is Morgana's, because it happened, like, the points happen, except for the last one, which should have happened way earlier, but, like, the bullet points kind of happen, basically, on the natural average, you would upgrade your party members anyway.
Yeah, and they happen alongside scenes where, like, you get to know the character better, and you bond with them and all that, whereas, like, with Akechi and Nijima, it's like, hey, this is the scene that happens, and you sort of have a scene, and you rank up with them
you just
for no
kind of rank
specific
up for
reason,
whatever reason.
Like, for whatever my... But for whatever my complaints about Morgana may or may not be, as we talked about in the last episode I was on, like, at least when it comes to them being a story social link, kind of like Teddy and P4, like, whenever you rank up with them, it's accompanied by you learning more about them, and in one way or another becoming closer to them. Like,
and I mean, the Igor social link is just, I mean, like, it's such a nothing. It's a total, it's the full social link from P4 all over again. Just, you're not ranking up the whole investigation team as a unit. You're ranking up this non-existent relationship with the devil.
Yeah, you're getting the
or the demiurge, but
the whatever. Yeah, you're getting the requisite, like, upgrades to your the Igor Confidant is, like, you know, you get bonuses for every Confidant in this one. The Igor Confidant is just bonuses. Like, it exists only to give you more personas to hold, or to give you more fusion options, and that's about it. And what I wish is that in P6 we have an actual Igor social link, because I want to. I really like. I think out of the Persona characters in general, I really, really like Igor as a character. I think he's one of my favorite characters. And I want to get to know him better. I think he's a really cool guy.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on that.
I can understand the impulse behind that. I'm not sure if I agree with it, but I respect it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the whole idea is that you don't know anything about him, and it's kind of his mystique. But I also get it because it's like, we've played so much Persona that it's kind of like you want to know you want to know what's going on with this dude.
If you're going to stick with that same kind of game formula for 3-4 games or whatever, like, at some point you're like, man, I know he's supposed to be this mysterious, like, pseudo-god from outside of our natural order, but also, like, what kind of flavors of soda does he like?
Yeah, you hung out with him so much.
Because, like, well, you've got, like...
Do you think he's on Netflix watching Orange is the New Black when you're not around? Like...
we had Elizabeth in 3 and we had Marie in 4 the Golden, where it's like you take the attendant outside of the Velvet Room and you hang out with them and get to know them. I want to do the same thing with Igor. I think that would be kind of fun.
I could feel that.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I wouldn't balk at it.
But I mean, otherwise,
it's definitely more than we got.
And then the only other note I really have for this one is
game, which is just sort of like,
yeah.
Huh?
Hello? Okay, sorry. Yep, it's cutting out.
Are you good?
I'm good.
It's fine.
Yeah, it flickered for me. I'm good. Okay, anyway. The only other real note I had for Igor is that I just want to again bring. I think we mentioned it the first P5 episode we did, but like you knew right away he was not the real Igor. Like the minute he said a line of dialogue, you're like, nope, that's not him.
Like I didn't like. I don't think I called the twist or anything, but like I definitely had the suspicion.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
I feel that.
Well, because whenever they would have to recast someone in Persona, like they tried to find someone who at least sounded vaguely similar.
Yeah, that is true. I sort of, well, because I guess the problem is, like, and this is sort of stepping beyond the Persona 5 narrative, is that, like, I didn't necessarily think about that because, what was it, like, about 1.5, 2 years before then, we got Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where they cast Big Boss as a guy who sounds literally nothing like him.
And I don't know, I knew some shit was up, but I didn't think it... I don't know. Like, I knew some shit was up, but I didn't think it wasn't Igor. At first, I thought, like, it's like some possession thing or something weird like that. But no, it was just straight up just like a fake. Like a fake Igor.
Yeah.
Because, Igor has been kind of established as being like Saturn said, like a weird, otherworldly, godlike figure. So, at first, your brain can kind of go like, well, maybe he just sounds different because the old guy died and they don't want to, like try to replicate that voice, so maybe they just went in a totally different direction. But eventually, like, enough stuff happens in the game that you're like, oh, no, that's somebody else entirely. Yeah. So, but otherwise, I mean, that's not, like, a social link that's really worth focusing on too much, because the next one is.
Yeah. Well, I just have one more question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How goes the rehabilitation?
It made me so sad when after that whole shebang happened and you got regular Igor back and you did fusions with him and like he just didn't even have any voice lines. It was like, oh, it's so quiet.
Let Kirk Thornton be Igor. He actually sounds really good as Igor.
Doing these horrible, gross old men voices. Now that he's done like every young dude, like every young cool dude in anime, like ever, let Kirk Thornton be just like an old fucking dude. I guess that's clearly his dream job because he plays two old fucking dudes in this game. He's Igor and the SIU director.
I'm sure they will get him back to
Igor
in
20 years.
Like they've run out of like chances to cut Igor out of the games. Like in Q, it was like, oh, Igor is missing. In the fighting games and in Dancing All Night, it's, well, they don't go to the Velvet Room in those games. Like, in 5, he's been replaced by an imposter. Like, they've run out of excuses. Japan now has to recast Igor.
Yeah, and it's not like they couldn't, because like clearly like they got rid of Philemon, like they can take out whatever situations they want, but it's just like I feel like at this point Igor is one of those characters that's so ingrained to the series, to the sub-series identity, that they're just not going to do anything with him. Like, I don't think we have to worry about Igor getting replaced by the new Igor, who has a different exaggerated body part and another different kind of weird voice.
Giant ears.
Like, we're not going to go to the suede room.
No giant ears.
No, I mean, they need to replace. They need to replace his voice actor. Like, they can't. Like, I understand Japan has like a tribute thing to they like retire characters after the voice actor passes, but like, get him a new one.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, like
in the 20 years between now and Persona 6. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so,
anyway.
Yeah, that's it. So the next one we jump all the way to the Hierophant with Sojiro Sakura. Woo!
I'm looking at the list here, and it says the date unlocked is 420, and so
nice.
Hey!
It is basically Dojima 2.0. Yeah.
He is very much the Dojima social. He's even the Hierophant. Yeah. Like,
and I think that's Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's I was gonna say they definitely gave him more of a heart, which I appreciate because I think like for as much as Dojima is understandable, I think he's somewhat lacking in empathy, which they clearly went back trying to change with him. The thing I don't like is that while it's not a plot social link, is that you just straight up cannot progress it past a certain point until you meet Futaba, and the game makes no indication.
Yeah, so you're just like hanging out with him like 5 nights in a row, being like, "Why the fuck won't this level up?" And it just lets you.
Yeah, if you're desperate and not keyed in, then you're just like waste a whole bunch of your time on him, and the game makes no effort to stop you from doing so.
They should have been like, Sojiro is not answering my question. Like, maybe I'll check in on this once I get to know him better, or like once I learn more about him. It's like that kind of like indicates, you need to plot-wise uncover something before you can progress
with fucking Ryuji. They do that. They gray his social link out because he's got like a little investigative period in his social link where he's just not available because he's off doing like shit. Like, and they gray it out. Like, it shows like, hey, he's available, but you can't hang out with him because of like social link plot reasons. Like, why didn't they just why couldn't you just do that with Sojiro? I mean, that it's such like a weird decision because it's obviously that they thought of that and then they were like, oh no, never mind.
I'm willing to chalk it up to, I think, the thing that we discussed about on the last episode I was on, which is like there's a part of this game that feels like it wasn't in the shape it was in until very late in development. And they just never had the time to like go back and do a consistency pass. That's going to get brought up next week,
so don't you worry. Because I have a lot of opinions about that, but that's a completely different thing. I think Sojiro is one of like the standout. Well, we were talking about like standout confidants earlier, like a few minutes ago. I think Sojiro's is one of them because I think the emotional high points of his social link are some of the more resonant ones. Like the bits. I mean, I like that Sojiro is a crier. Like, he's a happy crier, and it's a great personality trait. And so when a good thing happens and he happy cries, because he's such a hard ass sometimes, you kind of, it is a moment you think about. It's when he's so happy that, Futaba called him dad, that he cries.
Yeah.
And it's like a moment that actually sticks with you. And a lot of Persona 5 social links don't have that moment, that, like, kind of sticks with you emotionally. Which is why Sojiro's, to me, feels like such standout in generally they're all good, but they're never really elevated, in the way that Sojiro is.
Sojiro is a character who, even outside of his social link, feels like he has, like, things that he likes and dislikes and ambitions and hang-ups.
He feels like an actual person that you could know.
And it's like, yeah, and it's one of those things like you were talking about with the crying thing. It's like, oh, it's such a far cry from the kind of like weirdly hyper machismo guy that I met when I moved into town who says he doesn't usually let dudes ride in his car, Yeah. So like he gets like so much character development both inside and outside of his social link that it makes it way richer, I think. So I'm not sure if it's a fair comparison to the other characters, but
what's great about Sojiro's development is that either if you don't do it, you just doing like plot-wise, or you do his confidant and the plot-wise, his confidant really augments his character development with Akira.
Yeah.
Like, it's because again, the natural pace that a player would probably develop this confidant, you're matching the pace that his relationship, his natural, like, plot relationship develops with Akira. So, like, he starts softening up, and, like, you have more, you can hang out with him more, and that just, like, it doesn't, like, it augments it. Like, it just makes it stronger to see that development.
Yeah, and it makes him into, like, a real, like, person. Because by the end of it, Sojiro feels like one of, even more so than some cast members, Haru, I love Haru, but really it's a huge problem for this game, okay? I love Haru, but we talked about that too much already.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, Sojiro feels, like, incredibly fleshed out by having, like, a damn good social link and a really good external plot line as well of this kind of, like, this is a thing we've discussed a lot, just me and Ben just in person, or, you know, just in normal chat. I love Sojiro's role in the game as this kind of helpless adult that the game does a really good job with it, where he understands once the reveal happens, he understands that he's completely helpless to stop these kids from doing this thing. Like, they are doing the right thing, and it's a dangerous right thing, and he can't stop them, and so that kind of, it's a really human response of being really angry and really frustrated, but also wanting to be very supportive, is what makes him so good.
And also, like, you get the sense, too, that it's not just him being helpless either. It's also, like, to an extent, like, he's clearly outraged about it, but then, like, he considers his bond with both Akira and Futaba, and by association are so Phantom Thieves, and he realizes that he trusts them
do the right thing.
To do what they think is the right thing. And so he doesn't bother to try to stop them because he thinks there's no point to.
And, I mean, that's great. That's really good writing.
Yeah.
Like, it's excellent character writing.
And it meshes really well into this sort of, like, sense of progression you get with your social link with him, whether you do it or not, of, like, this sense that as you get closer to him, like, you take this this temporary position as family that almost pegs you as, like, the older brother that, like, is suddenly revealed and has been there the entire time. Yeah. At the same time. And it's like, it makes more sense because there's a degree to which, like, at the beginning of the game he sees you as this weird freeloader, but then, like, there's a part, like, by the time you get to the end of his social link and to the end of the game, it's like,
you are family at this point. And, the progression is just, it's super good because it all goes hand in hand, and with the plot of the game and the plot of the social link. It's just great. I mean, it is truly great. It is one of the better social links in the franchise, honestly.
And I also think it's also helped because it also, like Dojima's, it also ties heavily into Futaba's social link the way that Dojima's does with Nanako.
Yeah.
And so that you're developing kind of both characters at the same time in different ways.
And I wish the game did more of it. It's such a shame. It's such a waste of opportunity. You know?
Like, yeah.
They're not, you know, there should be more overlap like that. And I have a couple other social links on this list here that I'm like, there should be more overlap with these characters and this character. But what I love about Sojiro's and his, how it develops his relationship with Futaba is that, like, since you can do both of them at the same time, and I like that they worked around the way so they don't, like, contradict each other with their development.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're both, like, there's no point where you're like, oh, well, their stage of the relationship in this one doesn't match the stage of relationship in that one. Like, they do a good job of balancing that out and making both characters come out better for it.
I feel like it was a thing they learned from Persona 4, because Nanako and Dojima's social links do mesh very well together until you reach a certain point where if you've maxed one social link out, it feels like the conflict at the end of the other social link is incongruous. Like, they don't, like, we've kind of already resolved the family issue at the end of one social link, so why are we still having, and I know that problems really don't go away like that, but from a writing standpoint, it can be a little awkward.
Yeah, and like, I was going to say, too, like, obviously we're not going to be able to get a chance to, because we're just doing the NPC social links in this one, but like, this is a really good example of, like, hey, this is managing plot pacing and Futaba's social link pacing and Sojour's plot pacing and making sure, like, they're all, like, play well together, so even if you're moving at different speeds, nothing feels contradictory. And this is, like, sadly a really unique situation for this game, because there's so many other social links that feel like they're just completely divorced from the story.
Do you mean On? Are we talking about On? Because
we're talking... I'm talking about, like... God, probably most of the actual main cast members, absolutely. Like, especially on Haru, like, even though hers is late and she doesn't get a whole lot to do in the main story, hers is actually alright, but, like, On's probably the worst, and Ryuji and Yusuke aren't great either, even though I like them.
But otherwise, I mean, like, yeah.
And this is a problem that, like, they have with a lot, like, even Persona 4 had kind of the same problem, where, like, the social links don't develop along with the plot, but it's really egregious in 5.
And I've said this before, but Persona 4 doesn't have a plot. Like, what kind of helps Persona 4 is that it has a plot at the beginning of the game, and it has a plot at the end of the game, and all the stuff in the middle is just stuff to give you a reason to hang out and dungeon crawl. And because of that, a lot of the social linking stuff doesn't feel divorced from the actual plot of the game, because it's kind of like, I'm hanging out with my friends, why would I tell all of my friends about my personal hang-ups, you know? But because there's, like, a real plot kind of going on here in Persona 5, to not have that character development that happens in the actual social links get acknowledged at all in the main plot feels really weird.
Yeah, I think I might have talked about this on the last episode I was on, but when I was doing my second playthrough this game with my partner...
Yes, you did tell us about this.
We were going to go ahead and girlfriend up with with Ann Takamaki, and, like, we maxed her social link by, like, the end of June or July, and then never hung out with her again until Christmas.
Yeah.
But we were still apparently dating the entire time.
In any of the story sequences never acknowledges who you're dating or anything like that. And again, because this is a more plot-heavy game, you get these kind of weird situations where it's like, you're my boyfriend, but there's no extra scene where they're worried about the fact that you got the shit kicked out of you. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really strange.
It's some poor decision making, and like you said, it's probably the fact that this game existed in its current form, like, very, very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that based on, like, any factual knowledge, but it's very much the impression I get.
Too, yeah. But, we got off topic again.
All right.
Gonna happen.
No, but,
that's fine.
One final point about Sojourner's, because I really, really like this part of it. This game does a lot of it where they, like, or not a lot, but a few enough times that it catches me by surprise, where they have, like, the bit where Futaba's uncle tries to take custody back by accusing Sojiro of abuse, and you have the investigators actually come to the cafe, and I was shocked at how reasonable they were.
Where they're just like, there's clearly no abuse going on here. What the hell?
Yeah, I was very clearly expecting, like, another, like, conflict with another sort of quote-unquote villain character or an enemy, you know, of that regard. And no, they sat down, they had a conversation with the three of you, and they're like, yeah, well, this is bunk. There's no way this is true.
Because all of the other adults in this game
have been so
comically, just incredibly horrible, that it's like, oh my god, reasonable people. Oh, sweet Jesus, thank you.
Yeah. You know, the same thing with, what's his name in Haru's?
Her fiance?
The CEO,
no, not her fiance. The Takakura. Yeah. Who, at the end of his, like, he was revealed that, no, he really is looking out for her, and he just misunderstood what she wanted, and he will happily, you know, deal with the problem.
Which is nice. The problem of a horrible,
so it's
horrible
like, yeah. They don't refer to him as a person, he's just the problem.
Really is just a problem. A horrible problem that needed to be hit with a bus.
Yeah. So, but so it was just nice to, like, have that, like, moment of,
reasonable people do exist in this world.
Something worked out for us.
Something nice will happen. Alright.
But yeah, so otherwise he's one of the best. And now we'll go to one who, again, you you most likely just do this one to get the bonuses. And that is Chihaya Mifune.
What a big yawn.
I think we are. Oh no, that's right. He's technically a party member. Never mind. I think we're skipping a Akechi.
He's technically
yeah.
Although bonus, I will.
We did him last episode.
This, just as like an aside. So for some reason, it was like I think it was like Famitsu or the Persona magazine in Japan. I can't remember which one. Akechi wasn't ranked as like a Phantom Thief, but he was ranked as the most popular social link in the game. So like, hey, yeah. Where's Arena? So I know that he's not dead. Yay. Thanks, guys. I'm really waiting for it.
They're gonna bring him back from the dead. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, Chihaya, she's like a total nothing. I have like almost no opinion on her whatsoever.
I mean, like I said, you do hers for the bonus because her rank 10 is awesome.
Yeah, hers is super broken. Yeah.
Her rank 10 is, as far as I remember, essential to actually finish all the social links in a single run through.
Yeah, because I'm going to hang out with Yusuke today. Oh, he won't rank up? Well, I'm going to take a quick trip downtown, and then he will rank up.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I'm going to pay this mysterious lady that my friend doesn't know $50 so my friend likes me more.
She says, I mean, like, imagine that conversation where you're, like, on the train with Yusuke, and you just look him in the eyes and say, a crazy woman in Shinjuku says you're going to love me more today by the end of this. And he's just like, okay. Because it's Yusuke.
It's like, oh yeah, I ran into her. She gave me, like, $50.
Cool, I'm in a great mood now. I love you a little bit more today, Akira.
Yeah. Since we don't have a whole lot to say about her, I guess the thing that I want to like address here is that like hers is a social link where like I liked the premise of it, like, oh, here's this person who moved to the city from the sticks and basically got taken advantage of and roped into like this kind of horrible situation beyond their immediate understanding, and like it's fine. Like, I think it fits the themes well, and it's, like, not a bad social link or whatever, but, like, man, I really wish they didn't, like, completely poison the well on her social link and, like, a lot of the other social links by introducing them as romanceable options.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and, like, I know Persona 3 and Persona 4 both had, like, their throwaway moments, but, like, in general, like, in P3 it was with Elizabeth, but like Elizabeth also wasn't technically a social link. Right. She was a side quest chain. And then in like P4 it was like one like throwaway scene of one social link that wasn't like actually like lingered on at all. But in this game it's like, hey, you know what's gonna be cool if you play this game as a 17-year-old boy and like fuck lots of adult women. And I'm like, man, I mean, alright, I guess. That seems kind of
waifus in this game.
There's
like it's like 80% waifus for like social links, unless they're party members. For real, there are way too many romanceable chicks in this game, and
yeah, and it takes away like especially in Chihaya's case where it's like Chihaya and then who someone will get to later, Kawakami, where it's like you have this whole involved arc, and it's like, oh, cool, that resolved your hang-ups, and we're good friends now, and by the way, do you want to bang? And it's like, no, what?
No! No!
Like, and for one thing, like, did anyone even really romance?
Yeah, who romances Chihaya in the first place when they're vastly more interesting characters? I mean, like, that's the thing. By having so many romance options, most of them, 90% of them, just kind of suck. They're like nothing.
I am honestly shocked they didn't find a way to fucking squeeze in some
apparently there's junk data in the game of voiced romance lines, so why would I like that? No, it is. I know. So get ready for Persona 5: The Crimson, buddy, where we get to romance a 26-year-old woman who's your friend's big sister. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just like one of those things. Like, I don't try to like police what people put in their fiction, because like, you know, it's fine, it's fiction. Some people will like that, and that's cool. But for me, it's just like, man, I'm like 22, right? Like I'm the baby here, and like if I wasn't in like a loving relationship currently, and I wasn't like, if I was like in a situation where I was like, oh, I'm gonna like keep my eyes peeled for someone to like occupy that space in my life, I would not be prowling on high schoolers.
17-year-old boy, my goodness. No, this is clearly like a culture thing, but it's like I just can't comprehend it. It is so.
It's just. Well, the fucked thing is too is that this wouldn't be in the game if there wouldn't be this if there was actual able to choose the sex of your protagonist, because a fun statistic is that in these situations, in these young person and adult situations, as we'll call them for lack of a less vague term, generally speaking, the ones with older men and younger women are persecuted way more harshly than the inverse. Yep. And so this isn't even a commentary at this point. This is just an unfortunate reflection on what I have to assume are some. I feel I wouldn't call them mainstream values, but I would call them subconscious values, perhaps, of certain kinds of people.
If they ever made P5 Portable on the Switch, and they did make a female protagonist, you wouldn't date EY. There's no way they would make EY romanceable.
Let's be totally real here.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to say, is that you wouldn't get to date EY.
Yeah.
And
as I say, and the great part about that is that if you want to go to that comparison, EY is the only person on that sort of route who would be even remotely comparable. Because otherwise, there's Toranosuke, the politician, and your surrogate dad.
That's it. And that's all. Those are the only non-party member dude. Social links are.
Aside from Mishima, but Mishima's not an adult man. He gets exempted from this discussion.
Other fucking thing, and we'll get to him.
We'll get to him.
Yeah.
But it's so egregious.
And then just going the original point I had, where it's who would even do it in the first what? I get you want to have all things equal, but why? You don't have to include a romance option for everyone, because when you're developing this game, you have to be well, no one's going to go for this
I don't know anybody who would go after Chihaya, because Chihaya is boring.
Nothing in her social link leads to a romance thing. With your party members, you can see it
around each
because
other all the time.
you hang out all the time, and there's a natural development with that. But a lot of these other non-party member characters, it's the romance part just is oh, and here is your option.
Now you have progressed in this relationship enough. You may now stick your dick in them if you want.
It's a very obviously this is not really shouldn't be a shocking comparison. It's a very VN way of thinking about things. I think for Persona 5, we're sort of congratulations, you solved their personal trauma. Now you can fuck them if you want. It's now hold on.
You solved their trauma puzzle.
You solved their trauma puzzle. Now you can solve their bedroom puzzle. Let's go.
It is. That's exactly what it's just Persona. I mean, all Persona games are basically visual novels with fucking dungeon crawler stapled onto them. But this is the most visual novel-y of them all. Where it's just a bunch of chicks you can fuck.
It's
and maybe
really
that's
weird.
what colors my opinions of Persona 5's Confidants so poorly. Is that I think that's probably part of it, is that it's just a bunch of fucking waifus, and not as many terribly compelling characters. Because again, my opinion of Chihaya is just kind of eh. She is there.
Yeah, I'm now that I have her rank 10 in subsequent playthroughs, I'm not going to do it, because I already have it unlocked, so there's no reason for me to do it again. I don't really care about her story that much to do it again.
Yeah, it's like I said, because I guess we've been on here for a while, but
it's okay.
Her story's fine. It's nothing special, but it doesn't connect to anyone else's, and it's just sort of there, and Chihaya as a character is sort of put it's not someone we'll get to Tei Takemi, where Tei Takemi's a social link, but she is also injected forcefully into the story at one point or another.
Yeah.
But Chihaya is conletely divorced from the context of the rest of the game, and it makes very little sense that she's there and important.
I will say there is one thing I just kind of thought of that I'm I would again, the way I mentioned with Igor, I would like to see the actual Igor Confidant at some point, but I will say that the idea of her fortune telling being a real actual thing that she can do is interesting, because I like the idea of external magic existing in this world outside of Persona abilities.
I mean, supernatural things is cool, but it's...
Yeah, but that's if they like what I'm saying is if they'd make another character who is also magic in another game, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like
her.
It's unfortunate because like as far as I remember, every other Fortune social link so far has been pretty good. Like in Persona 4, it was fucking Naoto's Arcana. No. Like, damn, that one's great. But like Chihaya is like probably like even compared to the plot social links and even compared to like some of the less substantial ones, like Chihaya is somehow like has the least impact even compared to ones that are like completely automatic.
Don't worry, I have, again, we'll get to her in a minute, but there is one who is so much more, oh my god.
Oh yeah. Oh, there is the worst, inarguably the worst confidant coming up. It is not Chihaya. She's close, but
for now, it's...
Yeah, we gotta move on to
the next one is Caroline and Justine, I believe.
Yep, the strength, which I think was
done well.
It was a cool story, and like it was a lot like Margaret's, where you have to do the fusions to get it. But like, I think it was a lot more compelling than Margaret's, which Margaret's has just impressed me. And Caroline and Justine actually have like a little backstory thing to theirs.
Yeah, well, and plus, like, theirs actually factors into the main plot, and instead of being a plot social link, it's like a plot adjacent social link.
Which is nice. It kind of helps allude to the Lavenza twist in a really good... Because, like, if you don't do the Caroline and Justine social link, the Lavenza twist is still kind of hinted at in a few ways, but and so, like, it's still, like, the Lavenza twist still works. But if you do the strength... you get a lot more context about it, and you kind of understand that, like, by reuniting the twins, you are kind of creating a more full person. It's kind of like you get the sense that their being separate is a weight on their soul. You know, like you're not killing two people. And, like, you're reuniting one person. You know what I mean?
And like it's not obvious on a first playthrough, but what I like about it and its connection to the Lavenza twist is that like. The seed is put there once you finish it, that they're like, oh, hey, we have something we need to do, and it's like sort of the implicit, like, hey, we know that we're not two different people, and we're going to help you execute your rebellion when the time is right. And, like, it works really well, and it's like, obviously it's kind of like, it'll happen, that stuff happens, like, whether you do it or not, but it's still like, oh, it's cool, you retroactively justified this having a tie to the main plot.
Their confidant is like if you took like a drama CD and put it in your game,
like
pretty
much
like
external information.
Yeah, like they're like external like backstory like bonus content thing, like but they just made it a game mechanic instead because it's completely optional, but it does have like a significant sort of impact to to the final twist at the end, and it's completely like all it does is help. It doesn't hinder it in any way, and you still get a pretty shocking twist if you don't do it. But like, it's just cool to learn more about them. Yeah, and it actually
makes you want to do those fucking fusions because some of them are really expensive. But it's like, oh, I kind of want to know what happens next, which is nice,
And plus, like most of the fusions they have you make are generally pretty useful. Yeah. Like the last one they have you make for rank 10 is a very powerful persona with a very powerful
so it's like
ability.
They're really helping you out too, which is great.
Mm-hmm. I will say I think it's just the Caroline Justine and Mishima who we'll get to. I really like the side quest social links, and I hope in the next game there are more of them because I like the idea of just having social links that you can kind of do at your own pace. And not like have to worry about throwing away time for it, like stuff that you can do alongside the rest of the game.
And I mean, all of their fucking abilities are incredibly broken.
Oh my god, yeah!
Like cartoonishly broken. Once you unlock the ability to pay money to summon personas over your level, you've basically just effectively won the game. At that point, it's
Oh yeah. Like, I'm going to start a new game plus. Let me just fuse all these high-level personas right away. I'm done! Yay!
Yeah.
Here's my level 9. Here's my team of 12 level 99 personas. I win!
Well, I was gonna say, at some point, like, you get to your third playthrough, and it's like, alright, cool, I have control of my character, let me just go to the Velvet Room and summon Saturn, and done.
I managed to summon... I was level, 60, and I just didn't spend money for just ever, and I managed to summon Yoshitsune very, very early on, and I was just done after that. Like, at that point, I was like, oh good, I have Yoshitsune. Game over, because Hasutobi is the most fucking absurd ability in the game, because most enemies are weak to, or not weak to, but they are susceptible to physical attacks. So at that point, it's like an instant boss kill button. It's great.
I had a pretty similar experience where I, at some point, was able to make Sandalphon, who is level 90, and the one things I fused him with came with 2 Koga boosts, and then he also had Makogon. And so, I would just go into battle and use Makogon, and then everything would die, and I would do that forever.
It's so great! So yeah, thanks, twins.
We're getting a little sidetracked, though. Thanks, twins.
Yeah, sometimes it is fun to just play an RPG and be King Dick of Fuck You Mountain and just destroy everything.
God.
Look, sometimes you just have to cheat, and sometimes the game knows that, and it's like, hey, look,
listen,
I know you need
put
to cheat.
my
Here
time
you go.
in with this fucking game, okay? I struggled in my first playthrough. I mean, struggled, because I did my fucking dime. Yeah, you're right. I deserve to just stomp through my second, third, and every other playthrough after that.
Well,
Absolutely.
Because once you beat a Persona game the first time, the only reason you go back to it is because you want to enjoy the story again, and you're not going to set it on easy. No. Give me the big monster to kill everything with instead.
Honestly, it doesn't make that much of a difference, because half the challenge of Persona is the learning encounters, learning an enemy's weaknesses, and then you just I'm going to exploit it. Half the bosses are difficult going in because you don't know what they do or what to expect. But if you go into a boss fight and you know the fucking I almost called it Hamburger Zone. The Okumura boss fight, where he summons a whole bunch of ads that all have different weaknesses. Once you know what those weaknesses are ahead of time, that fight is a joke.
It's basically, hey, do you want to pass the baton for 700 rounds in a row? Here you go. That's what it is.
Pretty much,
That fight is, have you not gotten the 4 baton pass trophy yet? For fuck's sake, here is a gimme fight. You know? So, we're off topic.
So thanks, twins. I don't really have anything more to say about them, because I'll be honest, I didn't have
what?
Fusion is hard. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it next playthrough, but
just look up a guide. Yeah. It's all pretty simple shit.
Once I did 6 of them, and so I got I could just immediately rank up to 6 right away. But I was at the point where I'm I just want to finish the game right now and be done with my second playthrough.
1 second, I gotta mute my mic, but you can.
So yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll just cut.
I'll stop.
Are we stopping recording?
Yep, I'll stop it.
No, don't.
Yeah. Okay, we're back.
Hey. So no more getting off topic.
Yep.
So what's next?
Well, we won't get off topic for this one, Sarah. It's Munehisa Iwai, the Hanged Man.
Conversation I am not allowed to be a part of, because I will probably just say a bunch of lewd shit for 20 minutes. So
I don't blame you.
goddamn, right? I know. I guess this is why you can, fuck all of these older women in this game, because a bunch of adults will be playing it, and I feel if Iwai was an option, I don't know if I would be able to have, that moral conversation with myself to not, you know? I feel I would just make a poor life choice, and then I'd be really disappointed in myself, but I'd also be worth it. You know?
That's fine. I like Iwai's social link a lot. I like that it has such a weird tone compared to every other social link in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Sega bought Atlas and decided to make a crossover with the Yakuza series.
Well, I was going to say, I am 100% willing to bet that this is a social link. So like, hey, we would like if you put some Yakuza shit in this game so that people will be interested in our other game about the Yakuza.
Because, like...
Same thing with how, like, Makoto likes Yakuza movies.
Yeah, well, she...
to go to Yakuza movies.
Yeah, she straight up's like the movie Like a Dragon, which is the movie based on the Yakuza games. But no, like, I think EY is really cool because, yeah, it is a very much more, like, darker tonal shift than the rest of P5, but not in, like,
someone points a fucking gun at you in this.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, like, yeah, someone points a gun at Akira, but, like, then you think about, like, Goro does too, but when Goro does it, it's more anime than when this guy just pulls a gun on you in an alleyway.
It's some dark
like,
fucking
also,
alleyway.
like, because Goro's also a teen like you,
yeah.
And he's not like a weird, like, 40-year-old man who's threatening you and your other surrogate dad.
Yeah.
Right. And, I mean, like, but, again, I like EY's social link, but I'm just kind of okay. I mean, like, I'm not super enthusiastic about it. I'm not like, yeah, let's talk about EY's social link. I like EY as a character, but EY's social link is just kind of like... There is no, like, great emotional moment of EY's social link where I'm like, this was the moment that sold me on it, you know?
Honestly, I would have actually liked way more focus on his dirty Yakuza background than on his kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my problem with EY's social link, is that I like it a lot, but, like, Sojiro's social link does the same exact story, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I like EY having a son, like, he kind of, like, you know, he adopted this kid and he's taking care of him, and that's, like, his Yakuza retirement, but, like, I would have liked more focus on, hey, we need you back in the game.
Yeah.
And not so much, like, I need to patch up my relationship with my son, when it's, like, that's great and all, but there's a guy with a gun who wants to kill you. Let's talk about him instead.
Yeah, it's just a way more interesting plot hook that wasn't explored enough. And so at the end of it, it just kind of, like, there's the stuff with the kid and the stuff with the Yakuza, and neither are really, they don't really sink their fingers into it enough. Like, it's kind of implied that EY still thinks of these people as family, but, like, it's just not covered enough. It could have been about, like, the weird familial connections you still have when you were part of the Yakuza, and the fact that you can't really get rid of those familial connections. But instead, it's just kind of like nothing. Like, you know? It straddles the line.
The one that stands out to me is there's the one where it's like, EY takes you and his kid to the diner, and then he leaves, and it's like, he's late, and it's just you and his son talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're not who the social link is about. Why am I talking to you?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, like, it feels so much like Sojiro's, because ultimately Sojiro is not just Sojiro's social link, but it's also kind of a social link with Futaba, even though she has her own.
Yeah.
And this one's a social link with the cool guy and his son that you don't know or care about.
Yeah, but
and, like,
the difference...
It feels almost like they had to do it to make that stick, and they're like, just didn't realize they had already done this social link in the game.
And the difference between that and between EY's and the Sojiro one is that Futaba also has her own confidant, and she's an actual character, whereas EY's kid is just this kid, and I don't care about him.
Yeah, he's just a generic middle school model character. Like, there's really nothing. Yeah. There's really nothing going on with Kaoru. He's just kind of a character, you know? Like, I don't know. It would have been way more interesting if it had been about. Because, like, all of his old Yakuza bros are way more fascinating, because it's like, hey, we still, like, some of us still kind of care about you, but hey, you're actively working against us, and there's, like, a lot of interesting shit going on there. But instead, because EY is an older dude, I guess he's gotta have a kid. Sure. Whatever. All of his social link skills are completely worthless.
Yeah, I never bought any the gun customization.
Mm-hmm. I literally only did gun customization. I did it on my second playthrough, literally because I just had that much money, and I'm like, fuck it.
I'm just rolling.
I think the problem is that, like, at the point in the game where you have enough money to afford that, like, the way more useful use of your money to upgrade your gear is to summon personas and then have them broken down into their unique weapon counterparts.
Yep. So, like, yeah, sorry, why you're a cool character, but it could have done better, but you're super, super hot.
He's so fucking cool!
So fucking cool. I would have really preferred, because, like, when I first started playing this game, I thought he was doing some, like, vigilante justice shit, and I thought he was Batman, basically, and it would have been a way cooler plot hook to have, like, this older dude who's doing kind of what you're doing, but in a way, like, in a non-supernatural way, where he's, like, trying to do vigilante justice shit on the side. Like, that would have been way more compelling than, here's an old guy, he's got a son. Haven't we already done this plot twice before now?
Yeah. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of potential there that didn't really get the attention I think it deserves. I will say what I think would have helped the social link a lot, aside from just rewrites, is that obviously this would have been difficult given the scheduling, but I think you could have made it work out, which is have some interlink of his social link with Makoto's.
Yes, so then Kazushiro would actually be a character? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that would be a fun character interaction between those two, and it would also, like, help you justify the importance of a social link more, aside from this is the guy I buy my fake guns from.
Right. And, I mean, just the idea of Makoto getting really excited about meeting an actual Yakuza guy sounds amazing, so why wouldn't...
Yeah.
And he's excited, and I'm just like, are you a cop? You seem like a cop.
You seem kind of narky, kid. And she's just like, oh my god, I've seen all of those movies! And it would have been good, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, next...
yeah, now we get to the fun block of all the other adult women characters whose stories are ruined with the inclusion of sexuality.
Oh my god.
There's a chunk here, but some of them are good, some of them are really good, and some of them are bad. So the next one is...
It's the waifu chunk!
Pretty much.
The next one is Tei Takemi Death, who is... I liked hers a lot.
Tei's pretty good. I don't have any real opinions about the content of her social link, but, like, I think she is at least an example of, like, a side social link character who has, like, a reasonable integration into the main story that makes her kind of important to know.
Yeah.
Like when she comes by to check on Futaba, it's like, oh, hey, it's a person that I know who I have a social link with, and it makes sense that they're here, which I appreciate.
That's cool.
Yeah, one of the things, like, I do kind of wish for Persona 6 is that they would make at least meeting all of your social links mandatory, because that gives the writers the freedom to include them in the actual plot.
Yeah.
Because, like, part of the problem with, like, a lot of these characters is that, like, you don't necessarily have to meet them in canon, so they can't do anything in the story.
Right, and if all of them, like, if every single social link was introduced in the plot and was, like, you automatically get, like, I know that there's kind of the fun in... I get it. I do, because, like, then everybody gets to be plot important, but there's also kind of the fun of going somewhere and be like, oh shit, there's a social link here, you know? But I think just for the sake of a more compelling story, I think you have the better idea.
It gives you the opportunity to narrow a lot of the cast, too, because you can basically just have it be like, hey, every important character in the story is a social link.
Right.
Like, more or less. Yeah. And it lets you explore all the important characters, and then you don't have situations where, like, you have characters like Chihaya, who are nothing social links, and then you have, like, certain side characters, like the other teachers or certain other classmates or whatever, who don't have social links, even though they are, like, characters that you encounter more often than not.
Right. And I just think it would kind of... Because you've got that wiggle room of everybody is established rank 1, just to start out with. Everybody has rank 1. It means that you can have them be parts of the story, and then all of these stories can interweave in better way. I mean, there's just, you know, going back to what we've been saying over and over again, the story and the social links and all of these characters could be more interwoven with each other. And it would make the game more compelling, because that's like real life more so than what we've got right now, because the people you know, generally speaking, will know each other. Like, you know, your friends all know each other, your coworkers know each other. Your mom knows who your friends are. Maybe they don't interact that often, but, they all know about each other. So it's not like these little individual bubbles that you hop into. Instead, there's like a more organic interaction of this character talking to this character. They all know each other, and now you've got to navigate the relationship between these two characters while also still trying to navigate your individual relationships with them. And I think that's really compelling, and it's a thing that it's kind of a shame that Persona 5 doesn't do, because it's 2017.
Yeah.
The moments that they do it are always like the best, but there's so few of them. Like one of my favorite standout moments from the game is like when Ryuji calls you on what is actually apparently his birthday, and you go to hang out in Fish and you meet Kawakami there.
Yeah, and it's a great little moment.
You have a little interaction that plays on your social links with both of them, and it's fun and cute, and the game doesn't do that enough.
Yeah, it really it needs to do that more often, because the bit where like you go and get Takemi to help out Futaba is one of the cool, like, one of the more like notable moments in the game, because it happens so infrequently that like that could have just been we went and got the local doctor and it's just a doctor NPC, right. But no, they said like, oh my god, a local physician? Go get them quickly, and then it's Takemi.
Yeah, and like that's like a cool little moment when Takemi walks in, and you're like, oh shit, these, knowing these people actually has an impact on my life, which is the whole point of Persona,
Yeah.
Like, the whole idea is that these people, and that changes your life, and not just like in fantasy magical way, but in like practical ways.
There is one thing notable, like, if you do all the confidants, like, in the end of the game where they're doing the crowd chant, the EBA, EBA, to bring the Elite Beat agents back to life.
Right.
When they're doing that, like, there is a bit where, like, certain confidants will be like, oh, the Phantom Thieves too? Yeah, they're great. And it's like, oh, people are talking like human beings do.
Yeah. Now, why didn't we get that in the rest of the game? It just
like,
we need like a given.
More of that.
More.
But on Takemi, like, herself, I really do love that, like, it really brings the whole small neighborhood thing together, that, like, this local doctor is this creepy spider witch, and people are, like, constantly giving her weird little gifts and, like, homemade stuff, and she's like, I don't know what to do with all this, but whatever, they're nice.
But it's nice.
Yeah,
like, thank you.
I'm glad you brought attention to her appearance, because one of the things I like, because I believe she's like basically the second social link you get aside from like after Ryuji, more or less, who isn't like and obviously they're all plot mandated, but like for hers it's like it really draws him this attention. Like first you get Ryuji with his like kind of shittily bleached hair, and then you get her with her whole goth ensemble, and it gives you like this very like visual shorthand to introducing you to the idea that everyone you're making friends with is an outcast in some way or another.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it gives you an idea of, like, this is the kind of game you're getting into. And just, like, in general, Takemi's design is really good. Like,
yeah, it's a great design.
It's a good design. It's very eye-catching. Her casual clothes are the hottest fucking shit.
Oh my god, the spider dress? Yeah.
The spider dress is super good.
And the black jacket, it's perfect.
Yeah,
oh god, she's so cool.
It's really cool. She's really, like, she's just really cool, And it's ruined again by the fact that you can fuck her.
Yeah, again, completely unnecessary. You did not need that option at all.
You didn't
need
it.
No.
Oh, well.
There is one non-party member character that I think you should, like, that is, like, conceivably romanceable, and we'll get to her later.
Right. But
I guess we will.
Speaking of social links that are completely and totally ruined by the fuckability of that character.
It's part 2 of the fuckable block.
Yeah.
It's Ichiko.
Excuse
me, Sadao Kawakami.
It is.
Right?
Who is? I think Sadao Kawakami is probably the best confidant in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate, because I think it's the best by default, and but it is the one that is most egregiously ruined.
Yeah.
By the fact that
oh my god.
Yeah.
It's
really awkward.
It's kind of the same approach, like, we all kind of had with, like, dating Futaba, where it's like, dude, that's your sister!
Yeah!
It's like, in this one, it's like, dude, that's your mom!
Like...
Pretty much. And it's like, it's not just that, but it's also, like, her whole resolution and plot are kind of about, like, how like, she's been cajoled into this profession of hers, or, I guess, projected profession near the end of it as a result of her, like, just completely boundless, like platonic sympathy for her students and her desire to be a good teacher and all that. It's just, like, completely ruined by the fact where it's like you can just be like, hey, I know you're a teacher and all, I'm glad you resolve your traumas, but please polish this, and then just lots of gesturing at your deck.
Yeah, like, the whole arc of her fucking social link is about how, like, she's kind of endangered herself or made her life harder by being so emotionally involved in, like, a mothering sense, you know, like you said, a platonic sense to these kids, and then it is all completely fucking ruined by the fact that she's like, you know, now do you want to fuck me, Protag-kun? You know?
Like, it's like, I will be here to guide you as your teacher, and, you know, I will be the best leader I can be for you. Now, do you want to get down?
It is so bad.
But everything before that moment is so good.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. The entirety of that social link up till the moment it got ruined is, like, easily the best social link in the game.
The bit where you go and visit her in the hospital.
Oh my god, it's
like,
again, talking about emotional beats, like, that's one of them, you know?
Where she's like, she's surprised that a student would come visit her in the hospital. And it's like, yes, of course I would. You are.
Because you're, like, my cool, rad teacher who I care about in a non-sexual way. Because I feel like I need to keep saying that.
Sorry, continue.
I'm like floundering. You go ahead, because I'm just like, it's so good.
I was just say, hers is another one of the social links that you get as a part of the main storyline. Like, you're not, like, forced into it, but you're introduced to it, and it's like, one of the things I like about hers a lot, and that I would like if there was more of that in future Persona games, is that the concept, the sheer driving conceit of her social link is so patently ludicrous. Where it's like, you accidentally discover that she's, like, working in a maid cleaning service because your fucking knucklehead thought they were going to try and hire a prostitute. Like, it is the most fucking bizarre thing in the world, and it makes her, because, like, every time you hang out with her, like, it feels like just the result of this building comedy of errors, and, like, she's aware of it too. Like, gee, you're paying me $50 to come over, which is great, but, like, man, I can't believe this is where my life is right now.
She's like, I come over once a week to clean my student's his attic room. This is where I am.
But she doesn't fucking clean it either. I mean, like, I like the joke that Kawakami is really shitty at her job because she just doesn't fucking do it. She comes...
Hey, you just pay her to come hang out.
You pay her to come hang out, and literally at one point in your social, like, she just fucking sleeps on your bed. Like, she doesn't do anything. Out. She's just like, oh god, I'm so tired, and then just falls asleep on your bed. And you're like, can I have my $50 back? Like, please?
I just want to imagine Akira's like, well, alright.
Sure.
I guess this is happening now.
I guess. Can I have my $50 back? Because, I mean, but, you know, like, all of, again, just going back to the whole emotional moments. Kawakami has a lot of really good ones. The bit in the hospital, the bit where she's like, yeah, I'm gonna turn my life around and I'm gonna tell these people to fuck off and it's gonna be great, and then they turn around and they basically threaten to ruin her life if she doesn't keep, you know, being beneath them.
Yeah.
And like that whole moment of just total helplessness in the face of this shit. You feel so angry for her sake. You know, like you really feel it in the moment.
I was like, where is the physical assault button? Because I want to deck them.
Right. Like
Akira's like, I don't mind going back to prison.
I'll go back to jail. Because, like, for real, it's just such a horrible moment. And I mean, it's one of those moments that I feel everybody can kind of relate to, where you're just trapped in your own helplessness and like, oh god, somebody please help me. And the payoff is really, really good. I honestly wish I could have made those people suffer more, but I do like the fact that they mentioned that they gave Kawakami all of her money back. So I want to believe after Persona 5 was over, she just went on fucking vacation to Hawaii for like a month.
Well, not Hawaii. She can already go there for free.
That's true, because they go to fucking school they'll just fucking send you to Hawaii. Sure.
I will say before we continue on, I think part of what also I really enjoy about her social link is that I think compared to every other one in the game, it's the one where the theme of the social link, I think, matches up best with the benefit you get from advancing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because so much of her social link is basically about her, like, busting her ass and giving up her time to other people for, like, whatever reason. And, like, her reward to you for helping you solve her trauma puzzle, basically, is that she's buying you more time.
Yeah.
Well,
like, she's buying you time to do other things with your life and enjoy it instead of busting your ass.
I have two things. I have 2 points about that. One is more serious in there, so I'll do the funny one first, is that, like, dude, her level 10 breaks the game over its knee.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
Fuck!
Oh, in combination with Chihaya, you have to be you literally have to be incompetent to not get every single social link. No offense, I know you just didn't want to do the strength.
Yeah, I like the strength one is because I'm impatient. Like it's not I didn't have the time. It's like I'll do it next time.
Yeah. But I mean, like, otherwise you have to be, I mean, you literally would just have to be an idiot to not get every social link maxed now that you max Kawakami and Chihaya, you know?
Yeah, on my second playthrough, like, I didn't, like, do everyone because I had spent a lot of days where I was just, like, doing grinding and dungeon for shit, but, like, even in spite of wasting a whole bunch of time, I think it was just, of the ones I missed, is, like, I never did Torinosuke's because I did it in the first playthrough, and I missed finishing Yusuke's by, like, 1 rank.
Oh, God.
But, like, that's considering I spent, like, half the game going into mementos and just, like, fucking
grinding
putzing around.
Right.
Yeah.
I finished my second playthrough of Persona 5. I did basically everything, which is why I don't feel any compulsion to replay it anytime soon. I got every Persona. I maxed every social link. I mean, I basically did everything you could, except for, like, a few very small things that I'm just never gonna fucking fool with. And I toward the end of the game, I had whole days, consecutive days, where I had nothing to do because all of my stats were maxed, all of my social links were maxed, everything was done, and I was just, like, twiddling my thumbs, like, now what do I do for, I guess I'm gonna go hang out in Mementos a lot, you know?
I'll go see what the maid cafe actually is.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It turns out it's nothing. It just boosts your charm after you don't eat it. So.
Yeah, but more like the other thing I want to talk about, like with Kawakami in general, is that I think a lot in the same way of Sojiro, like we talked about how he feels kind of helpless in the face of this. I think there is a lot of that with Kawakami as well, because like once she discovers who the Phantom Thieves are, I think she has a lot of that like, shit, I promised to do what I can for these kids, but they're literally involved in something beyond my comprehension, and all I can do is cook dinner for him.
Right. And I like that. It's good writing. I like this idea of, you know, these kids have been so at the mercy of other adults that now it's kind of like wresting back control of your life, and damn the consequences. I think that's good writing.
You can tell with her in the same way that you can with Sojiro, is that those were social links that were made very early on, and there was a lot of thought put into how they shaped out.
And they are the definite best. They're the best ones.
The standout.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the worst one now.
Actually, no. Let's not talk about the worst one, because Ichiko Oya is fucking dull. How about we talk about how Lala should have been the devil instead?
Yeah, Lala should have been the devil Arcana instead. Like,
so, I mean, I don't even want to talk about the devil social link.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, it's another adult woman who's like, any presence of story is ruined by, like, the ability to fuck her.
Yep,
because, obviously, it's Persona 5. Her actual social link story is kind of, like,
it's boring.
All over the place. It doesn't have a real message. It's kind of like a combination, almost, of Kawakami's and other people's, except without any of the point.
Here's the problem with Oya's. Oya's social link isn't about her. It's about her friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we just have a social link with her friend?
She's telling you the story of how her friend was put in a coma, and it's like, oh, that's plot related, but like it's not about her.
Yeah, it's just
and it's not helped by the fact that she also has like the single most useless
ability. Like
ability.
Her abilities are garbage useless.
I don't actually know what they do.
They basically make it so you get less alert, and that your alert clears faster, but, like, if you know how to play a video game, just sort of in general, it's not, like, even a problem you have to worry about.
Right, yeah. Like,
even without doing... Like, even without doing her confidant, like, I think my alert rank got up to, like, 30 on a bad day once.
Yeah. Like, I think the highest mine ever got was a 50, and it was because I just didn't care, and I just kind of wanted to see what would happen if it got high, and then I got tired of the flashing lights, and I said, fuck it, I'll just get it back down, because it's really, really easy to get it back down. Ichigo is boring, Lala is awesome, and should have been the double.
She is. There's only one good thing I'll give about Ichigo's, and that is that we get to hear Yukiko's voice actress be drunk again.
That is good.
And that is a good thing.
That's true.
That's true,
But beyond that, I don't care. And Lala
her
is awesome.
Her design is even boring. I mean, everything about Ichiko sucks.
Oh, you mean Ichiko's Disney Channel original movie design?
Yeah, her fucking, like, this is supposed to be an adult woman outfit? Are you kidding me? How old is this? Who fucking dresses like this?
What she looks like is she looks like a fucking, like, scrapped take on Paprika from Paprika.
She does! Oh my god! I didn't even think about that! You're so right. But, like, even her design is so, she looks like...
In a game where we have designs like Takemi, and I'll even give it to Chihaya, who has a cool fortune teller design. Like,
yeah,
Ichiko's is
all right.
Ichigo's is just t-shirt and jeans. Like, it's
and
not
bad haircut and
awful haircut.
And just awful, just design in general. I mean, everything about her is so fucking boring. And then the game has the audacity to let you walk into Crossroads every day, and here's fucking this badass character behind the bar, and it's like, you can even work for Lala, you know? But she can't...
Lala is a character who says things that you have reason to meet anyway.
Yes!
And it's like, no, we're going to have a social link with Oya, who is just... a character.
You could even... Oh my god, I literally just thought about this. You could even solve... Because, like, the whole point that Ichigo exists in the plot is that you need somebody to tell you Kanashiro's name, right? But, like, Lala runs a scummy fucking bar in the scummy part of Shinjuku. You could just go to Crossroads and be like, hey, Lala, can you tell us about one of your clients? I'll fucking work for you for, 2 nights in a row or something for free if you'll tell me. I'll wash dishes for free if you'll tell me about this fucking guy. And, like, bam, there's your social link. Now you've got, like, this, like, radical character, and it's not another fuckable girl.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It would have never happened because, God forbid, Atlas actually lets you befriend someone who's visibly queer in their games.
Oh my god, right? Yeah, it's a game about social outcasts, but the cast includes a fucking rich girl and the student council president. Yeah, okay. That's a real... It's a game about societal outcasts. Yeah, okay. Sure, I'm not fucking buying it, Atlas. And, everything I know of everything... even her design is better.
Now, to be fair, Lala's, like, the most popular person in Shinjuku, so it's like, she's not really a social outcast herself. Like, everyone knows Lala. She's
still a visibly queer person in Japan.
I know, I'm joking.
I guess, but...
I'm joking.
I was gonna say, but it's also, like, damn, like, it's compared to Oya, who has a professional job, and I guess drinks, but that's not, like, weird.
Not Lala, Oya's just boring, and...
Boring.
It's not...
Yeah.
She feels like, I think, I was going to say this earlier, she feels kind of like she was assembled from the stuff that got cut from other people's storylines.
You're so right.
Yeah!
It's like, we didn't have an alcoholic character, let's go ahead and throw this on her.
It's like they had, like, 2 months before release, and they're, like, looking at the list of options, they're like, where's our devil?
Did somebody forget the devil? And it's like it really does feel so grab bag because like fucking they're like, well, we need an alcoholic and we need another cute fuckable girl, but we also need somebody who's personally affected by the mental shutdown things. Oh my god, cram it all into this one thing. Hurry, Like, and we need somebody who's connected to Shido to make it more plot relevant. Quick, write something up that's really boring and shitty, and then nobody ever does it and cares. I hate Oya. I hate that fucking character.
Fuck that lady. Moving on.
Next.
It's Shinya Oda.
Shinya Oda, the tower!
Well, I don't really care.
Takun!
Takun. Shinya Oda's a whatever social link. I believe I mentioned that he's a tiny 8-year-old boy who's voiced by like a 90-year-old woman, which is still my favorite fucking detail.
It's funny because like I mentioned last time, like Oda is just Takun from Fooly Cooly.
Yep.
But
yeah, pretty much.
I went and rewatched Fooly Cooly, and like his voice actor sounds way better then, and it's the same voice, just worse acted.
It's so poorly acted. I swear to you, on a Bible, I don't remember anything about this social link except for the fact that it's basically the Tower Part 2 from Persona 4. It's literally the same fucking plot line as the Tower from Persona 4. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's just this kid has kind of a shitty mom, and then you make his mom not shitty, and then he stops being a bully and is nice, and he beats a guy who cheats at video games, and that's his arc.
Yeah, and so instead of cheating at tests, it's cheating at video games instead. I mean, that's it.
But and one thing I did like about it is I did like, for once, we have Akira having a relationship with someone who is actually younger than him.
Yeah.
As opposed
by
to
like a substantial amount, at least.
Yeah, as opposed to
like,
the same age or
Futagawa's
older.
Younger than him, and
like,
blah, blah, blah,
like
you know,
we finally get to see him be like more of a big brother to someone, and I liked that because like Akira being a sarcastic little cool guy shit, he has a lot of good lines in response to Oda's like being a brat.
Yeah. You can actually call him out on being a brat and stuff. But I mean, like, again, I literally hated the voice acting in this social link so much that I fast-forwarded through most of it. Because I just didn't I just didn't want to hear this kid speak. I was like...
I think it's probably more of a problem with a lack of voice direction.
Oh, it's for sure.
Bad actors, but
for sure,
it's still just like, God, they did that one so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, go watch Fooly Cooly again, and she sounds great there. Like, she's amazing in that. But in here, it's garbage. But, you know, Oda is saved because, fuck, his abilities are so good.
They're...
well, you get
obviously they're kind of like, it depends on your playstyle a bit, but also like I happen to appreciate them a lot. They're very fun, and they like make things. They're really good because Shinya Oda's like a fairly late game social link.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get him until like September at the earliest. But like the abilities you get from his like social link just completely shake up the pace of combat.
Oh yeah,
and like help make it interesting for like the last half of the game.
When you get the gun assault one where you can open the battle by mashing the X button.
That's so good. I'm so grateful for it because it just again like Saturn said, it kind of shakes up the pace of combat a little bit, which is nice.
And then you can you also get the ability to consume like a handful of bullets to instantly down an enemy. And Akira does the cool fucking flip.
The John Woo flip? Yeah, all it needs is a slow motion and some doves and we'd be set.
So I'm grateful Oda exists because he gave me that gif.
And it looks really cool. It does look very cool. And like the ability to, you know, even just expand your clip is nice.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean otherwise the social link itself is just it's just the tower from Persona 4.
Yeah, he's very much another social link, kind of like Ichiko's, that feels like it was kind of shoved in late in development. So like, oh, well, we don't have anyone to fill this yet, and we should probably just inject something here.
We need a kid character. Quick. Get a kid character. Great.
I think
Thanks,
I think this is better than Ouya's.
The only good thing from Shinya is his hat.
Notable, and I think if he did have better voice direction, I think more people would appreciate him as a character. Like, yeah.
We get
for sure.
Togo,
he just needed more
who I like a lot,
time
for our next social link.
Yeah. So the next one is Hifumi Togo, the star.
Getting some cutout. 1 second. Getting some cutout from you.
Sorry. There we go. That's better.
Okay.
All right. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, my connection was a little wobbly, but it's okay. The next one is Hifumi Togo, the star.
As far as I know, Hifumi Togo was originally supposed to be part of the main cast and got pushed out because Makoto was too similar to her, which I understand.
Yeah. But, I mean, she's cool. I like her.
Yeah, I like Hifumi a lot. I think she is, like, I know you're alluding to earlier, I think she's, like, probably the one non-party member romanceable that, like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you kind of have, like literally, like, your ability to interact with her at the beginning, like, your ability to start a social link with her is based on the fact that she thinks you're at least a little bit hot.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. It feels honest.
There's a lot more, like, of you being a peer with her and not, like, an assistant or, you know, a client.
Right.
You're sort of her outside perspective, but, like, you still, like, you're not as good as she is at shogi or whatever, or I guess, like, not even considering, like, later developments, but it's also, like, she is able to value you as someone who isn't good at shogi, and like you develop a lot off of each other, and it's cool.
Yeah,
and I like it a lot. And also, her abilities are really good.
They
are.
Oh
my god, they're so good.
Hey, I'm just going to leave any battle now. Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait, you mean if I beat this battle in one round, I get double yen?
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, so I know I normally have to only bring, like, 4 party members into a boss fight, but what if I just sort of, like, slowly brought in every single person that I had access to instead?
What if I did the Final Fantasy X shuffle, where I just rotate everyone in at least once so they all get the experience?
Yeah. What if, you know, they decide to just switch themselves out at the end of this social link, and now they can just spend a turn swapping each other out without you having to waste your turn. That's not, like, game breaking at all.
No, not at all.
No. God.
They're like, okay, so Chihaya and Kawakami break the game, like, in terms of social links. Hifumi breaks the game in terms of gameplay, where it's just like, yeah, here's all the limitations you had in 4, they're gone now, bye!
Yeah, like,
you're an unstoppable god now.
Between the twins and Hifumi, you can't be beaten.
Yeah, Hifumi is definitely a social link where, like, every time you advance her social link, the game difficulty just decreases a little.
Yeah. Suddenly you're just, like, rolling in fucking cash.
You check your stats, you're like, I didn't put it on very easy.
Yeah, I feel like you have to bump it up. But, like, her social link, again, I feel like I keep saying this. Her social link story is just kind of okay.
It is your standard, sport. It's your standard, sport story.
It's just about shogi instead.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to, like, I think, like, with our remaining social links, we're going to get past the point, so I figure I should mention this, but, like, a thing that a lot of the social links in Persona 5 suffer from is because they all kind of, like, have an involved, like, trip to mementos around rank 7 or rank 8. They all suffer from being, like, a little formulaic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Hifumi's case, it's, like, her whole, like, social links arc of getting to know her and then getting to know her problems and then realizing she's a shitty person in her life and then changing that shitty person's mind and then everything's okay is kind of like the Cliff Notes description of half the social links in the game.
I really, really think a lot of these in general would have benefited from cutting out the mementos trip entirely and reworking them to not include them.
Absolutely.
I think I like the idea of having the social links and the gameplay kind of integrate, but the fact that they're so formulaic, like Saturn said, where they all happen around rank 7 to 8.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if one of them could have been initiate, like if you had to do the mementos thing at like rank 2 or something.
Yeah, or like
and then it would have been like you changed this person's personality and it made things worse.
I was gonna say that would be a really interesting social link idea. Is that there's a character you only meet after doing a side quest in Mementos because you did something that made their life worse.
Yeah, it would have been cool if it's like you changed Hifumi's mom, and you fixed the one problem, but now she's not kind of the same person, you know? Like, and now you have to kind of navigate that relationship.
You could have done it, like you could have bumped it down. It's like, yeah, if you did Hifumi's at rank 2 and you got her mom to like stop fixing matches with her, well, you could have done a whole confidant about Hifumi building herself back up as a legitimate shogi player.
Yeah, like
what was I say? Like compared to the alternate take on that, which is like you start your social link with her because you fixed her mom, who was shitty for an unrelated reason, and she used to be this like shogi pro, and recently she's fallen into controversy and scandal because apparently all of her matches have been fixed, and she's dealing with like being a high schooler and having the like blows to her own social capital and self-esteem that come with something like that.
Yeah, and it's like you never really
interesting.
You never really got her I guess, her consent to change her mother, and it's like, hey, that would have been a really interesting story to explore, but no, instead it just kind of becomes really formulaic, and so, again, none of Hifumi's, like, moments in her social link really stand out to me. Like, they all kind of merge together in just one big thing, and I'm like,
yeah, it's like a lot of these other ones, like Tay and like UI and all them, where it's like cool character, but the actual like
execution?
The content you get of that cool character is like nothing.
Yeah,
I would have also liked, just in general, again going back to what we were talking about earlier about how, like, you know, interlocking social links. I really, really want her and Yusuke to be friends because they're so eccentric, and I wanted to see them bounce off each other.
Yeah, again, the whole idea of having characters of social links interacting with the actual plot. I know it's crazy, but that would have been really interesting to know that Yusuke has another weirdo friend at school, and they're total weirdos together. You know, then it's like, oh, these people have lives outside of me. Because right now it just kind of seems like their lives entirely revolve around protagonists.
There's a part to which, like, obviously I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit and getting here before we finish talking about the social links, but, like, there's a part to me which thinks that, like, a lot of this social link system would be better served in an RPG that is not linear, like Persona is.
Yeah.
Like, if you threw this system into something like a Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we don't have that, so there's no point in, like...
Right, in dreaming, basically.
Like, there was that bit, I like, one of the things that stands out in Hifumi's Confidant to me is, if you have hers up to a certain rank and you go on the Hawaii trip, she is the only, like, non-party member, like character who will text you, because she's the only other student of the thing. She's like, I am going to America. If I don't die, I will let you know. And it's like, oh... and because Yusuke, you know, ends up in Hawaii as well, that means Hifumi is there too. So hey, maybe Hifumi can hang out with us too.
Yeah, but that's another bag of worms altogether. In the whole idea of people hanging out more as like friend groups in Persona 5.
Yeah.
I just think it was kind of lacking in.
There's definitely a few strides towards making it seem like these characters interact more outside of you, but it still feels like a lot of them are kind of in their own little bubbles that only you can enter.
Because, like, you know, occasionally in 4 you get things where it's like, I think it happens way more in 4, like, if you are, like, if, like, a friend texts you and it's like, hey, do you want to hang out today? You're like, oh, well, you're hanging out, and you ran into your other social link. That happens way more in 4 than it does in 5.
It basically never happens in 5 except for, like, a few times.
Yeah, in 5 it only happens on the specific instances where you're called to hang out, like, at night or something.
Yeah.
And then you, like, know, like, oh, this is going to be a weird situation, but whatever.
But, anyways, so Hifumi is fine. She's game-breaking. She's a cool character, but meh.
Anyway, it's time for the moon.
The problem boy.
Oh, boy.
So
problematic, not favorite.
So I am 89% sure we prevented a serial killer from happening in this social link, because like Mishima strikes me as that kid that you make friends with because you're afraid he's going to come shoot up the school.
Mishima is the kind of person that in a different game would grow up to be Adachi.
You're totally right, though. Mishima is basically like a proto-Adachi.
What we did is we just prevented the P6 villain.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
And I mean, like, because it's like, I brought a gun for the haters. You know?
Yeah, there's a point in his Confidant where you're like, hey, buddy, hey, pal, let's slow down and take a deep breath, okay, buddy? Yeah, let's de-escalate. Hey! Hey!
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, and, like, obviously it follows, like, kind of the same, like, pacing formula, but that, it's, like, I don't, like, care about Mishima much as a character. I think he's kind of boring, which is, like, the point, I guess. But it's also, like, his social link was interesting, at least, because for a while there, it looks like the social link is not going to resolve in someone getting better. It's going to result in you making someone's life worse.
Yeah, and
that's not how it shakes out, obviously. But like, it's very interesting compared to like even a lot more of the better developed things in this, because it's not just like a steady hike towards making their life better. It's hey buddy, hey pal, why are you developing a personality disorder over this website that you run for me?
Yeah, it's just the general escalation of stuff where you kind of get the hint early on that, like, oh, Jesus, this, okay, so you're definitely going to develop a complex about this. All right, then. And I like that because Mishima is, advances entirely based on Memento's requests, you can be as much of a dick to Mishima as you want, and I always am.
Yeah.
Because I am just like, you give me the creeps, and my favorite character is an actual murderer in this game. But Mishima gives me more creeps than just about anybody. Yeah.
Mishima's, like... what I love most about him, and I think it's the best, is that we were talking about how, like, everyone has to do Memento's case. Mm-hmm. I love that Mishima, who gives you all the cases, doesn't get one.
Yeah. And
well, I mean, he kind of does, but not really.
You just go in and you yell at him, and then you leave.
And again, in the whole idea, we keep coming back to it, but it has to be brought up again. One of the best parts of Mishima's social link is the bit where it's like, oh, Mishima's going a little crazy. Hey, maybe I should call the team. You know? Like, there's that bit where Mishima does a crazy thing and wants you to change the personality of a perfectly harmless celebrity because he's got a creepy crush on the idol that this celebrity is dating. And the option is you call your friends and you tell your friends, it's like, I have a problem and I need your help. Like, that's nice. That actually feels like, people.
Yeah, again, it feels like natural relationships and talking to people.
Mm-hmm. And
I will say, I thought his social link was fine, but I think, like, if we're, like, because we've been doing a lot of theoretical talk about, like, reworking social links and whatever to make them more interesting, what I feel like would have made his social link more interesting is if instead of the person who runs your site being Mishima and having a social link with him, if it was Shiho.
Yeah.
And she's just, like, in the hospital bed, like, hey, I don't really have anything to do here, but you did kind of take care of the guy who made me try to kill myself, so can I, like, do something for y'all? Like, do you need any websites or something? Like, I honestly have nothing to do in this hospital bed, so anything would be great.
Oh, man.
And then you can have a fun, like, thing of, like, hey, here's a actual, like, carryover between Anne's social link and this other social link that you do.
Oh, man, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
But, and, like... Honestly, I feel like Mishima's social link is, like, it's good. I mean, it gives you the creeps because he is a creepy little child. But the resolution itself feels kind of weak. Like, I don't know how you could resolve it better.
Yeah.
I kind of wished it had been more of, like, I know that it's all about, like, every single social link is about the whole idea of becoming a more self-actualized person because it's about Jungian philosophy and stuff like that. But, I still feel like it would have been interesting to have more negative development. Like, I don't know why it needed to have an external character in the form of another fucking bully. You know?
Yeah. I wish it was more about about again, make your social links about the characters and not about external people that they're they're building us up towards. It's like, I don't care about the bully.
That is kind of the recurring theme we keep coming back to, isn't it?
I was going to say, like, in sort of like, hey, this shifting to, like, theoretical thing of, like, where this character is Shiho, like, you already have characters written into the game who bullied Shiho for rumors about her, and, like, you don't have to actually technically introduce anyone new.
Yeah, exactly.
And it feels like this game, like, for all the effort they've done to, like, consolidate social links more and make them a bit more consistent, there's also just a lot of points to like, hey, here's this character who we invented to make the social link have to give it a plot, but, like, we also have all these other faceless side characters who don't actually have anything to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate.
It's just weird. And I mean, like, that is kind of like a recurring theme we keep coming back to in this. I'm realizing now, we talk about it, a lot of these social links have secondary characters who, I mean, they kind of have to, because most of them are about changing somebody in Mementos. And they're all just kind of, like, unnecessary. You know? Like, the thing with, like, the bullies and Hifumi's mom and Shinya's mom and, all this stuff. Like, none of that is necessary. It's supposed to be more about the characters. You know?
This trend of otherwise fine stories that are, like, packed with a whole bunch of unnecessary secondary characters continues to our next social link, Torinosuke Yoshida.
I do want to bring up one more thing real quick about Mishima, which is the fact that again, his Confidant skill level 10 breaks the game because it's, hey, you never have to swap your parties out members ever again.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
They all gain experience at the same level, so finally everyone is even.
Thank God. But for now, it's Yoshida, who is... it's fine.
I was endeared to him. He was one of the only ones I finished during my first playthrough because I met him. It's like, oh, it's Japanese Bernie Sanders. This is before. I am endeared to this this kind of charming older man who just sort of like yells in public. Kind of like
the way I mentioned that Takakura and and Sojiro's the investigators are like reasonable authority figures. I love that we have this politician who is genuine about what his policies are built on.
Yeah, but hey, it's a game about politics because the final boss is an evil politician. There's no mention of Yoshida anywhere in the main plot, and again, it's a wasted opportunity.
It's really weird because he has that in the only thing you actually get is that you get the inverse of that, where there is a hard time limit placed on his social link beyond the actual end of the game because there is a point where where the election happens and you just cannot campaign with him anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. And
that's interesting, but I wish there was more of him in the main game because he seems like the kind of person who would be important.
It feels like he should have been at least a mandatory start confidant.
Yeah.
Because of his political connection
and then it introduces you very early on to the idea of, politics is going to be important in this story because we just forced this politician on you as a social link, and you'll see why he's important later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's no mention of him anywhere. Shido has no offhand line about this political outsider, who could be kind of Shido dismisses him as a nothing, and then when you beat Shido, it's like, oh, Torinosuke Yoshida gets elected. It's cool,
Yeah, there could have been a quick throwaway line. It's like, oh, we have this upstart politician, this old man who is preaching in the streets, and Shido could be like, I don't care about that.
Right, he's a nothing character. He's a nothing. I'm not threatened by him. He's a nobody, and I'm Masayoshi Shido. Blah blah. And that would have been, hey, you understand that Yoshida has a life outside of you, and it's incorporated into the plot, and other characters acknowledge that these characters exist, and all of that stuff. I mean, again, otherwise his actual storyline is just kind of whatever.
I do like that we have out of the adult side of the Confidants is we have a former Yakuza guy, and we have an alcoholic reporter, and we have a creepy spider doctor. And then we just have this nice old grandpa man who just wants to help out the kids, and it's one of these things is not like the other.
Oh, getting a little bit cut out.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. There we go. Yep.
Here we go.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I was just saying that I like that he kind of stands out as not being kind of the nice guy, but still a scumbag in just the general sense of being kind of weird or have a sketchy backstory or something.
Yeah, he's a nice dude, and but he still kind of fits the outsider personality more so than a lot of other characters. I mean, again, sorry, Atlas, you will never convince me that a bunch of straight, conventionally attractive characters with a bunch of shit going on for their lives are really that much of societal outcasts, I get that it happens, but I'm not gonna buy into it. I'm sorry, but here's Yoshida, who is a dumpy old man who fucked up in his political past, and he actually fits the role. He's really, really progressive, and the game seems to kind of lean on this idea that Shido is more of the right wing douchebag. So Yoshida actually fits the bill as an actual political outsider, and so that actually makes him somewhat compelling.
What actually struck me as very timely for me for both Shido and Torinosuke, which is that as opposed to specific political things, obviously this is unintentional because this game came out in Japan in 2016. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2016, and But it reminds me so much of the 2016 American elections.
Yeah!
Oh, I know!
Where excluding Hillary, who lost, like, the two talk of the town people were Sanders and Trump, who are both very different kinds of populists.
Right.
And then you get to Shido and Torinosuke, who are both also very different kinds of populists, where you have Shido, who's a very, like, our country has to be strong, blah, 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 nationalist, so, like, populist, and then you have Torinosuke, who's, like, the children are our future, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting, like, that's part of what endeared me to him so much, is that it seemed like one of those things that's, like, so timely in a way that video games usually aren't.
Right. It actually felt like kind of socially relevant because this game came out, this month, actually, a year ago this month in Japan. It came out in September of 2016. So it was before the American elections, but it still managed to be kind of very, very timely. And so by the time it came out in April of 2017 here in America, it was very resonant. And I guess that's kind of why we all, you latch onto it. It is so politically relatable right now, and I dug it. I mean, I really did.
Yeah.
I really dig it, and it was very well done. But again, it's just, why wasn't he incorporated in the plot more?
And also, like, again, like, his social link has the whole formula problem where, like, yeah, it's an interesting social link, but it's just like, once you do more than one or two of them, you're like, oh, I have an idea how the social link's going to shake out. It's going to start cool, and then it's going to get dicey in the middle, and then I'm going to go do a side quest for Mementos, and it's going to all work out just fine in the end.
Although Yoshida does not have a Memento side quest, which is nice because I like this idea that he is an adult and he doesn't need a 16-year-old to fix his problems, which is great.
Oh yeah, I forgot he didn't have one.
Yeah, it is nice, but at the same time, it introduces 3 fucking characters that are it's not necessary.
I was about to say, like, my biggest problem with that is that eventually I'm like, I can't keep up with all these political characters and who is on which side, so I can't pay attention anymore.
I don't care anymore.
And it's weird, like, because considering, like, fuck, you introduced so many political character throwaways in Shido's palace alone that Torinosuke's social link could have been about them, too.
Right.
Like, obviously, like, oh, his interactions with these other corrupt politicians who do things in weird, different ways, and they just so happen to be the people that you meet in Shido's palace later.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been cool, but instead it's these fucking, like, 3 or 4 people that I'll never meet again and have no reason to memorize their names whatsoever.
Right, and so it's just, like, they're just nothing characters, and so the plot of the social link just kind of, it doesn't matter, because it changes nothing about the world, because if you max out his social link, it's not even like if he gets elected or anything, which would have been a nice twist.
Yeah,
it would have been like, hey, you maxed out Yoshida's social link and you helped him campaign so much that, hey, as a bonus, he got elected. How cool is that? You've made an active change on the world, which is what the game is about. Sometimes I feel like Atlas forgot what their own fucking theme was.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm sure that if given more time, they might have, but, like, it seems the initial conceptualization of what Persona 5 is so different from what it ended up being that I can't imagine they really took the time or had the time available to iterate in that kind of way. And it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good stuff here.
There are the makings of a really good fucking social RPG in Persona 5. Like, honestly, like, the foundations of what could have been, like, the first actually, like, socially valuable game, like, not just from, like, a politics perspective, but like hey, here's a game that's about society and simulates society in some way, and they just didn't have the space to do that, and instead, I guess there's no point in me being bitter about, like, the way money was spent or whatever, but it seems like a lot of that focus went to parts of the game that were less important and didn't, like, stand out as much.
What is the guy who I can't remember his name right now, and I'm not going to Google it because that's bad radio. The director of the original Deus Ex, he said once...
Warren Spector?
Warren Spector, thank you! I wanted to say Warren Ellis. I knew it was a Warren, but Warren Ellis writes comic books. Warren Ellis once said that he...
Warren Spector once said.
Sorry. Warren Spector once said... I've got Warren Ellis on the brain now. Warren Spector once proposed that the game he wanted to make someday, when the technology advanced enough, was about the life of a single block. It would be about a day in the life, getting to know the ins and outs of people's lives on a single block in a street in a city. And it would have been about navigating those relationships, and everybody would have their own set schedules. They would have their own individualized lives, and every single person in the game would be like that. He says that's like kind of the ideal game. It's the game that would really kind of advance the game's medium. I read that in an interview somewhere years ago, and it always stuck with me. And Persona 5, if it really had managed to kind of have all of these interweaving social like all these people interacting with each other and influencing each other and working with each other and talking, and you get to know that this person knows this person, and they all have these different lives, and they all weave together, that would have brought us as close to Spectre's ideal game as you could possibly get in 2017. So yeah, I think the bones of Persona 5 are one of the best games ever made, and they just didn't have the time to capitalize on it because the game had already taken 8 years.
Yeah.
Which is such a shame, because it really does feel like if they had really pushed for it, you could have had that Warren Spector game.
I think, like, this is obviously just, like, scuttlebutt about whatever the future of Persona could be, because also, like, not to jump the gun, but, like, the last social link we have to talk about is Sainijima, who's another plot social link, so there's not really a whole lot to describe there. Like, she's not even a particularly good one, but just, like, to talk about it in general, like, I feel like, in general, part of, like, the problem with Persona games and, like, sort of how they work with the space that they have and, like, the social links they have and trying to make it all tie together is that they're so focused on being these very, very big games with very, very big stakes. And there's, like, I think there is genuinely a place for a Persona 6 that is like, hey, you live in this whatever neighborhood of whatever town, and you know basically everyone who lives there, and there's, like, a localized problem that you can solve, but, like, you solve it within the confines of this, and you don't have to, like, worry about, like, national politics or existential dilemmas or whatever. It's just sort of, like, interacting with people. And I think in some way that's, like, because all the stuff with, like, mementos and the and, like, the existential drama is, like, so much more of a Shin Megami Tensei thing, I believe, than a Persona thing. And I feel like if Persona has already stepped away from SMT as much as it has, that there is room somewhere for there to be a Persona game that's just, like, almost completely grounded in reality.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would like that a lot.
Yeah.
I would like that a lot. And I think, and this is why, to kind of go back to what I said at the very beginning of this 2-hour-long monstrosity, I am personally of the belief that Persona 4 is as close to a perfect video game as you're ever going to get.
Pretty fucking close. At least the Golden, for sure.
The Golden is as close to a perfect video game as you're ever going to get, because it really is. Persona 4 has no plot. It's about people. And it really does, you know, all of the social links feel more connected to just this small town and knowing people and getting to know their lives. Even the weakest of the social links in Persona 4, I like a lot of them more than I like some of the best social links in this game. Which is a weird thing to say, because I do really, really enjoy Persona 5. I do. I feel like I shit talk it a lot, but I enjoy Persona 5. But Persona 4 is basically flawless. I mean, it's as close to perfection as you're going to get in a JRPG. Because it is about, I mean, it's pretty close to what you just said, Saturn. It's a game about a small town where you get to know everybody, and that's it. Yeah, it has some existential shit at the very end of it, for sure, but that's the Megaten part of the series shining through. But even that kind of goes back to the theming of small town getting to know everybody, and how well can you know somebody. And Persona 5 Persona 5 has very lofty themes of societal outcasts and people banding together in the face of an unfeeling world that can't know you. But it kind of stumbles at the finishing line, and a lot of the social links problems are indicative of that. Yeah, that's my manifesto.
I agree.
That's my manifesto.
All right.
In the same way that I think, I guess last quip since whatever, but like in the same way that I think Persona 3 kind of like was a breakout because it was so different from the two games that came before it. Like, I think we were reaching a point where Persona 6 would be betrayed by playing it too close to the way that P3 and P4 and P5 did. And I think, like, just in contrast about P5, like, this is a game that is betrayed by its, like, still, like, wherever it innovates, there's still other places where it rigidly sticks to formula.
Yeah.
And, like, that formula has become so threadbare at this point that, like, it... like, we everyone in here loved the game, but, like, as you've heard us talk about this in this episode, like, most of these social links aren't anything to write home about, and it's really sad because there's good characters in there, but they're kind of betrayed by the formulas that they're stuck to.
Yeah, this game is... The social links in here are very much betrayed by the fact that they have to follow a particular pattern, and it's not necessary, because 4 and 3 prove that they're not necessary to include this quick dungeon crawl bit. You don't need that. It's not important to this, and it doesn't really help. It hinders so many of them, and I get that, it's cool for some of them, but requiring it for almost all of them except for Yoshida is like, well, you're just slowing down progress, and you're kind of anchoring it to this formula that it can't develop away from.
Yeah.
It makes them less special, which is the thing that sucks to say about Persona 5.
Yeah. If it had been, like, if only, like, 2 or 3 of the social links had, like, a Mementos quest attached to them, then it would have felt like a kind of special thing. But, as it stands, it's like, oh, everybody has one here. You can see it coming, because here's the character that you'll have to change, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, it just kind of stumbles at the block. But, it has like a few really, truly great social links in the form of Sojiro and Kawakami, who are genuinely great social links.
Honestly, I might think Kawakami is probably, like, it's
one of the best?
One of the best in the series, like,
yeah,
easily.
I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
Because it has a really good emotional thread of teachers and their responsibilities to students, and kind of again helplessness in the face of an unfeeling world that is really strong and communicated very, very well, and a lot of these others just kind of don't. And it's a shame, but I feel like I'm shitting on Persona 5, and I'm not. I really like P5, but I think there was my hot take to and I'll let you all get your hot takes in. I think there was just too much fucking focus on style.
Yeah, like, I guess, because I think we're kind of starting to wind down and everything, and I guess I just want to clarify this to the listeners, like, this is a podcast of 3 people that very much like and care about Persona 5, and you can tell that because we're willing to talk for nearly 2 hours about the game mechanics and story mechanics tied to secondary characters.
Technically, we have now, as a group, spoken about Persona 5 for about 6 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
So...
so yeah, don't think this comes from a place of us, like,
shitting on it, yeah.
Like, no, for real, like, Persona 5 is, like, easily one of my game of the years, and this in the list of fucking bangers for 2017.
Yeah.
Like, that's saying something, but, like, it's... I still stick to my point where I said, like, overall they are better, but that's because there are more of the social links in 4 that are just bad, compared to all of the ones in 5 that are just kind of... They're better than okay, but they're not great. They're all, like, 6.5 to 7s out of 10.
Yeah.
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 And it's because they're shackled to a routine, and it's like, these characters have so much more potential, and it's like, just... You need a little more... We say this a lot on, like, for various things, like, just a little bit more focus, and it would have been great. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, it would have been a masterpiece. Yeah. But, you know, nothing can be perfect, and I guess Persona 5 had to stumble somewhere, because it does have a lot of good stuff going for it, and this is where it stumbles. So, yeah. Boy, we have talked a lot about this game.
We have. So, I think we're good.
We're good.
For now.
Yeah.
So
it's been fun to come on here and talk a bunch of shit about this game that I like.
So let me just do my roundups here. Thank you to Visager for use of our background music. Let's see. We have a Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. You can email us about how we're wrong about Persona 5 at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. Saturn and Sarah, you guys have another podcast. What's that like?
Hey.
It's called Big Gay Nerds. We play tabletop role-playing games on it. I'm still a little bit residual drunk from before the podcast. That's fine.
You're fine.
But yeah, that's a fun time. Presently, we're in the middle of a block of Monster Hearts, and that's as Sarah can attest to, that's getting pretty hot and heavy.
Oh shit! It's so intense. You should come listen to it. It's really ramping up to its its peak Monster Hearts. So you should definitely come listen to it. We're on SoundCloud at Big Gay Nerds. We're on Twitter at, what is it, BGNcast? I think. Don't worry about it.
Remember.
Something like that. I'll learn it eventually. And we're on Tumblr at Big Gay Nerds. You should come check us out. Thanks.
Yes, so that'll do it for us. Sarah, who is it this week?
So many options. Fuck! I'm not gonna say fuck Oya, because that's too easy. No, I'm gonna say fuck whatever executive at Atlas took one look at Lala Escargot and said, nah, that's not gonna be a social link. Fuck that specific guy.
Yes, fuck that producer director.
That whoever the fucking producer son of a bitch who's responsible for Lala not being a social link, fuck that guy. There you go.
I'm going to join you on that in agreement. Fuck John Atlas.
Yeah.
John Atlas, if you're out there, like,
I'm gonna fight John Atlas in an alley.
meet me in the parking lot, and we'll sort this out over some fisticuffs, you motherfucker.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.